Hey, I'm Dustin.
And I'm Steve, and you're listening to another episode of the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast. This week, we sat down with David Mendoza to do a quick interview. Quick. We wanted to talk with him about his work and what he's doing, and also about what he's going to be speaking about this year at ShowIt United. Buckle up, because it's going to be an awesome interview. Hey, David, this is Dustin and Steve. How are you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
All of our listeners are going to hear that and just know that I completely faked that after we talked for about 15 minutes. So I don't even know why I do that.
Well, we had to get to know each other a little bit beforehand.
The illusion of podcasting, David.
I know, right? It's the illusion of everything.
David, the first thing I wanted to ask you, just so that our listeners could get a sense of who you are, your name is David Mendoza. Correct.
The third.
But you go by Doza on Instagram. Specifically, your handle's Hey Doza for is that like your personal account, or is it more like
I call it more of like an inspirational account. Yeah.
I mean, it's the account that I stare at for hours and hours on end every night. But yeah. I mean, it's inspiring me.
Yeah, it's my David Mendoza the third. Like that is my like specific wedding account because brides like to get lost in wedding photos. Mm-hmm. And I had a very, very talented person tell me that I should split them up. And so I heeded her advice and split them up. Hey Doza is more of an inspirational kind of like personal account where I can just dump all of my crazy ideas onto. And David Mendoza the third. This is the plug. Go visit. That's all my wedding stuff. So that's but in real life, people didn't really start calling me Doza until when was it? It was my senior year. It was 2011 when I like really first like entered into the wedding industry. And I was working for a company called Shoot and Share, and they were like, "Hey, we need to give you it was called ShowIt at the time. Hey, we need to give you an email." And people had like slowly been starting to call me or Mendoza Way, or it just like kind of grew out of just my last name being Mendoza. And the CEO of the company and I had the same name, David. And I did not want to get any of his emails. So basically I was like, well, this is the moment when I become Doza. And it's been Doza ever since. So I still introduce myself as, hi, my name is David. But at the same time, I also say most people call me Doza because people will inevitably hear other people call me Doza. And they're like, oh, what should I call you? Like last night, I was on a call with a client, and they're like, "Well, we saw that you sign your emails Doza, but like your company is David Mendoza. Like, what do you want us to call you?" And I was like, "Well, most of my friends call me Doza. You can call me whatever you like, whatever feels most comfortable. But I kind of leave it up to whatever people want to call me. My sister calls me David. My mom calls me Mijo, which is my son in Spanish. So."
Now we're getting super personal. What other pet names and like cuddly names do people have for you out there?
Oh man, gosh. Mendoza, Doza Way, Dozy, Doze. What else?
Oh, Doze, you were telling us earlier you're about to introduce your own wine. Is that a real thing or were you just joking?
Kind of. So what I'm doing
It is real.
It is real. It's real. It's real in the sense that I'm going to buy some wine and relabel it as Doze.
Oh,
nice.
Here I was thinking you were actually making your own rosé, David.
Well, I do have beer that I do make with in conjunction.
What kind of beer?
The one that just came out is a hazy IPA. It's really, really good.
Yeah? Nice.
Yeah, a couple of my friends.
You make it in conjunction with like a company or
with the brewery,
like just with some
brewery
friends?
here.
You do?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I got to like pour the hops in the last time that we made the batch. It was really fun.
So is it called like Doza's Hazy IPA?
No, this one's called The Truth.
Oh,
The Truth.
Deep.
Truth. Yeah, and then I have I have a beer coming out as well for my clients. So Doze is my like rosé for my clients. And then I have it's called The Potion, and that's going to come out for my clients as well. So just client gifts all around.
Yeah. What about podcast host gifts? Is that is
Yeah,
that a
how
thing?
do I get some of this the potion sent to me here in Indiana?
You just drop me your
Your address, $300 and shipping cost. And
No.
Steve, you are all on board for that.
No, just give me your address and we can get you some beers.
I mean,
That
this
would be the greatest
podcast
thing ever.
is called the Wedding Photo Hangover Podcast, which doesn't necessarily, when we came up with this concept, mean that Steven and I are drunk on the podcast. However, as our listeners know, that tends, at least for Steven, to be the case.
That was a one-time
That's
goof,
amazing.
Dustin. A one-time goof. I thought it'd be real funny to drink some hard ciders on our last episode, and they're very sugary, and it was a terrible idea.
Oh my gosh, this is like what's that? Drunk history.
Pretty much.
I wish it
Amazing.
were that good. Drunk history is amazing.
That would be that's a good concept.
So
All
on
right.
your About Me page on your website, which is
Sure.
awesome, by the way,
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
spent several hours, I guess just like a bride, just going through your website, looking at everything. And I was like, oh, he's so cool. He's so cool. He's so cool. Just like that, just geeking out over everything. But you mentioned that you're currently in a relationship with your favorite taco shop.
Yeah.
And so I was just wondering if we could get some more deets on that. Like, how serious is this relationship? How long has it been going on?
It's been going on for a couple of years now. It started off real slow.
Started getting intimate.
It started off real slow. It was actually I was introduced to said place right after my last girlfriend and I had broken up. Because it was just a weekend pop-up shop right around the corner from her house. Actually, pretty much in the driveway of her home.
And so as you're walking out after breaking up, you're like, tacos sound great.
Tacos sound great. It's Sunday and it's raining and I just got out of church and this feels terrible. I need tacos. So yeah, it's called Corazon Tacos. It's in Santa Barbara. It's like a really fancy millennial $5 taco, but it's really, really good.
So does this ex-girlfriend still live near the taco shop? Does it get awkward when you go there?
No, I do think about her when I kind of go by because it's like, oh, I spent a lot of time in that house back there. But no, now she's married. She's married to another wonderful guy. here
And
in
you
town.
shot that wedding.
I didn't. I
Oh,
did not shoot.
Come
that
on,
one.
David.
How could you do that, Dustin? Come on, man. I wouldn't even be able to go to a taco shop near the house because I'd be like so awkward and freaked out by that situation.
I've shot old like Tinder date like weddings. Like I went on a date with this girl and then now she's getting married. So I've done that. But
Wow, you have much more courage than I do.
it's just people. It's just people.
Just hearts, just romance, Steve.
I wish I could be this chill.
And a large portion of money.
Very true. Very true. No, I mean, I think with most people, I try to stay friends with like people who, yeah. Anyways,
Let's take this. Just a quick step back for a second. So
Sure.
you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier that you worked for photo tech giant ShowIt.
Yeah.
Now you said it's called Shoot and Share. Steve and I are not familiar with this company at all.
We definitely don't ever go through their Facebook group to find questions to make fun of on our podcast. That's not something that ever happens.
That would be unethical. So we definitely don't know anything about that. But I'm curious how you go from working for a tech, startup,
yeah.
to, a more creative side, taking pictures. So if you could walk me through sort of that corporate mentality to where you are now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a great question. So I mean, I've been like, photo became before the corporate thing, as far as passion goes. So high school, we had to do a senior project, and I chose to do photography because it was the lowest hanging fruit, and I knew that I was probably already good at it, and I was interested in it. So did that, and then right into college, my mom bought me my first camera. I still have it. It's a Canon XSI. It's
Nice.
Sounds
it's like
expensive.
the Rebel. The
Yeah.
Rebel. Very, very intro box, like the box camera from Costco. So that was my first camera. Actually, it was the only camera I had until 2 years ago.
Wow.
But anyways, kept on taking, like, used that camera to take a bunch of pictures in college. I became the graphic designer person for this college group that I was a part of called Campus Crusade. It was kind of like a weekly church group that would meet at UCSB.
I was really into Campus Crusade at my college as well. That's where I met my wife, actually.
Oh, right on. Cool.
Yeah.
So that was a big part of my life for about 3 years.
Mhm.
So I would pretty much run all of the graphics. So it was like this kind of like school within school. Like every week I was having to turn out 15 new graphics. Yeah, it was insane. It was like we had this thing going on and this thing going on and this thing, and they all needed graphics, and like I hold myself to the higher standard. So I was like, they all need to be really great. By the end of school, I was like, wow, I'm like actually really good at this. I went in as a math major, came out as a religious studies major with a minor in teaching, with the intention of doing whatever I wanted to do. So I was working for 6 months at a coffee shop, just kind of like the job that I had in college was working at this coffee shop my senior year. And then I had reached out to this guy who had been, like, I knew had been named like one of the top wedding photographers in the world or in America. And I was like, oh man, this guy's in town. He goes to my church. Like, this sounds awesome. Reached out to him. He hit me back, and then we met up. This guy, his name's David J. And about 6 months later, after we met, he offered me a job to work at ShowIt as a graphic designer. And I was like, sure, why not? Like, this is a big break. This is a big deal. This company is like, they're doing things. And I mean, it's very much a startup, but let's go for it. So jumped on there for a little bit. And it was about a year, and did a lot of their marketing graphics. From there, parted ways, and then I started a company called One Day Websites, where I turned over websites for photographers in one day.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy. This was back in the days of Flash, when I didn't need to build an entire mobile website as well. So it was possible. I mean, there's like obviously like a lot more that goes into creating a website than just the one day. Like, we would meet up, we would Skype date like weeks beforehand, make sure all of our content was proper and everything was set. And then just on the day, I would build the entire thing. And then at the end of the day, they got a brand new website that they loved. So, and it was cool because they got to, like, I mean, I'm sure you guys have gone through like that wedding design process, but it can be a headache going back and forth. And so when you introduce video into it, it's like, oh, I want it more pink. And like, what does that mean? Do you want it more like, do you want it more like magenta, or do you want it more blush? Like, what does that mean? So it eliminated all the variables there. Then Shoot and Share became a company. They split off with ShowIt, and they introduced the Shoot and Share magazine. I was asked to start to design the magazine for them, just as like kind of like on a contract basis, which I took. The head designer there, I fully respect him, Michael Thompson, amazing guy. And then after, I think, our like 5th issue of the magazine, it was an online digital magazine. I think probably one of my proudest designs ever. After like our 5th issue, then they asked me to come on full time again. I designed agree.com, all of the inner workings of that. And then about 2 years ago, got let go, and then kind of floundered for a little bit, didn't know what I was going to do, and picked up a camera, started to really take hold of it. And then last January, I was like, I'm just gonna go for weddings full time, and yeah. So that's there's the long story of it. But
So was
hopefully-
last January your first wedding you've ever shot, or had you shot a wedding prior to that?
No. I had shot weddings all through college as well, just kind of like helping out. So I have like 8-9 years of experience as far as shooting a wedding goes. But as far as like going full time weddings, last year I would say was my first full season.
I was gonna say I was like digging back through like old shoot and share posts of yours because I get real creepy when I do research.
No. Deep dives are great. Deep dives are great.
So if you ever run for office, talk to Steve. He's got all the dirt on you now.
Oh, don't worry.
All the shoot and share dirt.
Hey, I've got dirt on you guys too. So
Perfect.
I was gonna say like way back in maybe like 2013 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
You posted like a photo of an engagement shoot you did, and you said something like, "This might be the last engagement shoot I ever do." Yeah. And so, like, up until that point, I assume you had been doing like weddings and stuff, and then you took a break because of all the design stuff you had going on.
Yeah, I think it was a matter of like, hey, I need to focus. When I want to do something, I like the best way for me to do it well is to like devote all the time to it. I'm getting better at like making less statements that are like very like that are so direct like that. But
no, I loved it. It felt like very like honest and raw. Like, this is probably the end of this for me. And it seemed like a lot of people in the group kind of knew you were on board with like other stuff, design stuff. And they're super supportive of you. So
yeah, I helped start like the design community. So like I put together this like entire like weekend for creatives to meet. So if anybody knows like Jen Olmstead and Jeff Shipley of Tonic Sites, like, or Tonic Site Shop, that's what it is. Like they met on the weekend that we put together, like we called it the Design Smiths Retreat. And that's when we invited all of our designers out to Santa Barbara and had a weekend for them. But so yeah, I was like very, very, very much invested in the design community and building that out for ShowIt. So
nice.
It was a big part of my life, and I like wanted to devote as much time to it as possible. So that's why I kind of like made that statement. But now I've like very largely let go of design, except for on my website. Which
is amazing.
Thank you. That was a Tonic template. And
I was gonna say, whoever did that website for you did a really good job.
That was a Tonic template, and then I added my own flair to it because I can do that, and I can make it look however I want, which is nice. Go check out ShowIt if you don't have ShowIt.
So I was gonna say, when I was trying to do some research on you, the reason I lean so heavily on like shoot and share and stuff is because when I was just like Googling for information about you, a ton of people's ShowIt sites came up. Oh, because it said like in like the footer lines, like designed by David Mendoza, and I was like, I'm getting nowhere with this.
That was by design.
That was by design.
Seriously, in the line at the bottom, I'm like the H1 tag, I would be like designed by David Mendoza, but now it's kind of biting me. But it's okay. That's okay.
Do you still design websites?
No. Like I've tried. I tried to design 2 this year, and it was. I had to give back deposits and be like, I'm so sorry. Like my heart isn't in it. So it's one of those that it's a learning thing where like, unless I'm like really excited about it or it's for like a trade of some sort, then it's not worth it for me. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm so focused on building my photography brand and getting to the level that I want to get to, that I think that photography deserves all of my attention. And I think it's where I'm strongest at, honestly.
Makes sense.
Your photography is amazing. I mean, I think I first reached out to you after the shoot and share contest because you had a photo that posted super, super well, like top 10 or something. And I was just blown away by it. It was, I think it was one of the ones you shot in Bali.
Yeah. So it was 10th place. Should have gotten first. I still believe that full-heartedly.
I mean, that's what I said to you in the message I sent you. You don't have to say that about yourself.
Well, I just want all the people to know that I think first. And the only reason I think it got 10th is because people were downvoting and voting for their own photos.
That is the one critical flaw of that contest.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. They're like, this can't be real. And let me tell you, it was 100% real. Like, that place is incredible. It's magical. I wasn't even going to enter this year, and I was like, all right, like Andrew, the host of the entire
Entire world.
Yeah, exactly. Of the entire contest, he was like, you need to enter that photo. And I was like, fine. So I entered that photo with like 5 other photos, and it placed really well. Like, all the other photos did really well too.
5 other photos that were also that photo.
Right.
That's why I didn't get first place. People were confused.
People were so confused. No, I looked at all the other photos and they were all great, but I'm like, this one should have won.
For those listeners out there who have not seen this photo, can you describe it to them?
How about you just go to David Mendoza and on Instagram? I'm just kidding.
There you go.
It is a couple walking into a waterfall and sun rays beaming onto them. It's a mix of cold and hot temperatures, and it's pretty much everything I've ever wanted in a photo. Yeah, it's
cool.
like pure magic. It's like pure magic and sorcery. Like, there's nothing like I talk about finding magic and finding the magic, finding the light, like seeking, like looking for like magic in the mundane, and there's no mundane there. It's only magic, and it felt like the most like magical place in the world. When we got there, it was completely overcast. So their expressions and how stoked they were, it was completely real and made for the most surreal moment. There's also a video of that entire trip that is incredible. So be sure to check that out. I'll post it on my blog, which is coming out soon.
So the video of that trip, you also posted on your Facebook that while you're in Bali, you crashed a drone into a cliff.
Oh, good segue.
Can you talk a little bit about that story?
Okay, gosh, I'm still so sad about it.
The wounds are still fresh.
I could have used that drone this weekend.
I'm so sorry. Here I am dragging up talks about this taco shop where you broke up with a girl, basically.
Oh.
Now I'm talking about this drone you lost, and you're so sad about
Her name was Sheila.
the drone.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't name the drone. I should have.
You have to name your drone.
Because then when I part with it, then I'll. Anyways, the drone. So when you go to Bali, of course you got to bring a drone. That's like every Instagrammer's dream, right? So, so we go to this place that has 7 or 8 waterfalls, which basically was 3 waterfalls, but the locals play it up. There's like little mini waterfalls, and they're like, "That's a waterfall." I'm like, "That's a trickle."
That's a tourist trap.
But anyway, so we went down there, and it was amazing, and we were like taking all our photos, and then we're getting ready to leave, and I really wanted to get this one shot. And mind you, this place was like, Bali is just pretty much stairs. So if you go to Bali, be prepared for like busting your ass on some stairs. So we walk down, and we're pretty much in a gorge, and I take the drone up, and it's looking over the waterfall, not completely out of the gorge, but it's like a little nestled right at the top. And I get a little bit close to the water, and then I just start to pull back, and I just wanted this like really epic, like panoramic shot. And it's going so well. And then we finally get to the spot where it was like, and it was just one move, just pan out. And then we finally get to the spot where I stopped it, and then I'm about to bring it down. And I tried to bring it down, and it wouldn't. And there was like a floor that it hit. And so I was like, oh, that's strange. And then I tried to like pull it up, and then it was losing connectivity. And so it said like lost GPS or whatever. And so I tried, because of the walls and because of like there was just too much interference in the air, I lost control of it. So I was like, oh, like maybe if I like fly, like I'm just trying any which way to move it. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, maybe if I go right. So I like went the wrong way for a second, and it started to drift towards the cliff, or like the gorge wall, and I was like, oh no. And I tried to go the other way, and it was not responding. And my client was there with me, and he's a videographer. He's like a master drone pilot. This guy, like he flies drones in Hawaii for a living. And he's like, no, go the other way. And I'm like, I'm trying. And it just was lost. And then it went straight into the wall. And all these walls are like they're very like luscious. And there's like kind of like one spot where there's like a little bit of a lip. And so we can see that the drone is on. We can see what it's looking at. We can see that it's looking at like one specific waterfall, but we don't know where it's at. And we're like, oh, we think it's over there. I think it went in there, but where it landed, we couldn't see. Anyways, we ended up hiring, or like we told the guys, hey, like the locals there's like 3 local villages that surrounded this gorge. And we're like, hey, if you guys find it, we'll give you guys, I forget what the money was, but we'll give you a bunch of money. And they were like, sure. And so they like started scaling these walls. We waited for 2 hours. We thought that they found it. It was like a mixture of like, we were like so excited because I was like, they think they found it. And we were like so excited. And then they didn't. And then one more time they thought they found it, and then they didn't. And meanwhile, the entire time, this is the real kicker. My phone was connected to the drone. We couldn't move it, but we could replay it, but we couldn't download the footage because I took the footage in 4K, and you can't transfer footage from a Mavic to your phone in 4K. So what the best we ended up doing was recording the screen of the iPhone as it replayed the clip. So we didn't even really get the clip, but it was an epic day. And at the end of the day, it's like, it was well worth the experience. And it's just a drone. Like, there will be faster, lighter, better drones coming up. I mean, the newest one, the Mavic Air, is $799, and it's faster and it's smaller, and the camera's not as good, but you know, we'll get another drone or another camera or something.
Another Shelby, Sharon, Shelly, whatever you want to call her.
Mavi. I don't know.
Mavi.
It's a good name for a Mavic.
Mavi.
I feel like that's what a lot of men would call their drones.
Well, I'm just the basic.
Is this
basic world?
So is this the first drone that you've crashed then?
That was the only drone I've ever crashed. Yeah. I imagine that I'll crash more drones.
I'm on my 3rd, if that makes you feel any better.
Hey, the thing is, like, if you're not willing to crash a drone, then you care too much about the drone and not about the shot. So
it's sort of like a motorcycle. It's, they say it's not when or if you crash, it's when. Same kind of goes for a drone.
I've crashed 2 motorcycles.
Well, there you go. So you should know all about that, David.
Yeah. It's not
recently
fun.
Or when you were younger?
4 years ago.
Do you still ride?
No, not anymore. But I've been wanting to. Wanting. For one of my birthdays, I think it was 24th birthday, something like that, I went skydiving and bought a motorcycle on the same day. So quarter life crisis.
Crisis.
And then kind of took my motorcycle up in the hills and started riding around. And I was riding a little too fast and didn't see a turn coming. And so I laid the bike down because I was about to fall off a cliff. Some of the hills up in Santa Barbara don't have guardrails. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So I messed my knee up pretty bad, but luckily I was safe and I could ride back home. Like, I had to, the shift paddle on the left foot, like, it was completely bent up at 90 degrees. And so I had to like with all of the adrenaline that I could in my leg, like in my good leg or my bad leg, essentially, I had to like bend it back and then ride home. And then my second motorcycle was a Ducati Monster. Laid it down like once, but it was a very, very small accident, but no big deal.
So is your knee, does it still give you problems as a result of that?
Yeah, it was the same knee that I've always had problems with. So, I mean, I think it'll be kind of a nuisance, but in general, I don't really feel it, which is nice.
I was going to say, because you're trying to lose 35 pounds right now, right? And that could hinder that process.
Yeah. But luckily it's been pretty good, and I try to stay healthy. So it's been, I mean, when you lose, so I haven't weighed myself since I started this process. But what I'm going to do is get like a bowling ball, like a 10-pound bowling ball every time I lose 10 pounds. That way I can like have this visual representation of what I'm not carrying around at a wedding anymore, because 10 pound, like 3 bowling balls worth of weight is like, oh damn. Like I got
to tell you, the wedding I shot this weekend, the groom, it's a family tradition of his. Every single wedding in their family, they chain a bowling ball to the groom's foot. And then they make him go around and get advice from the other married men in the family so that he can earn the combination to get it off. So that he realizes that like the marriage isn't like his wife isn't a ball and chain or something. I don't know what is going on.
Torturous.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
I tried to bring him out for sunset shots, and we couldn't do it because he had to get the bowling ball off. So we missed the sunset.
Could you imagine if you were married into that family and they tell you that's a tradition, get you to do it, and then later on in life you find out that wasn't a tradition and they had just conned you into it?
I think that tells a lot about you and not about them. So
yeah, exactly.
That is very brutal.
Speaking of you losing all this weight and looking so damn sexy, Steve wanted to talk to you about your dress code and what you talked about.
Sure.
So in 2016, you said you started wearing suits to weddings, and it changed the way people interacted with you.
Sure.
And you said you even had people thank you for wearing a suit to weddings.
Yeah.
And so I was just curious, are you still wearing suits now in 2018?
100%. 100%. I have 2 suits, exactly the same suit. It's the Apollos Traveler suit, a gray and a blue one, and I wear them to every single wedding.
Nice.
Whether I'm second shooting or first shooting, it doesn't matter. And I've got a tux coming for the summer because I have a black tie. I have a black tie event, so I will be wearing a tux to that.
Cool.
And yeah, I think mainly so my goal is to be charging $25,000 for weddings, and you got to dress for the part. But also, when I started looking at all these like top tier photographers and then like kind of getting into the why of it, Kenny Kim is an incredible photographer and somebody I really look up to, and the way like I love the way that he put it, and he was pretty much saying that like it shows like a level of respect for the occasion, and for me that I've since then adopted that. It came from a place of like, oh, I just want to look better, but also like it's one of those days where, I mean, I have a wedding coming up in July that is the mom is the parent, or the bride's parents are coming in from China. The groom's family is coming in from Florida and India, and it's like there's probably going to be 3 days in your life, maybe, when all these people are going to be together, and it deserves that type of respect. And dress is one of the fashion is one of the pillars of our society, and the way that we dress really dictates the way that we interact with other people, and the way that we feel. Like it represents how we feel about something. So if it's something that you really respect, you should dress up for it and do it in a way that is conducive to you. So like within context, of course. I'm not saying that like everybody needs to wear a suit to everything, but I think that dressing up in respect to in respect to your audience and to your clients is the best way to go.
I'm glad you said not everybody has to wear a suit to everything, because I was about to run upstairs and throw my suit on real quick.
Oh, well, today's Monday and I am in...
it's not a Tuesday, right? That's when you dress up.
That's when I dress up. I'm wearing my Film Supply Club shirt. Shout out to, Brayden?
Shout out to the guy that I don't remember his name, but I'm sure he gave me a free t-shirt.
Shout out to Brayden. He's amazing. He's an incredible photographer. Gosh, that guy's really tall and really smiley.
So while you're wearing a suit, what do you wear shoe-wise?
I have
Cole Haans. Cole Haans is what he wears.
No,
he doesn't wear moon shoes, Dustin. This is specifically why I was asking.
Do you wear the Cole Haan Lunar?
I do. Comfort, function. Nice. And I get a lot of compliments on those bad boys.
Yeah, no, those are good. There's like 3 guys at the wedding this weekend that had them.
Yeah.
I don't like them because they have like the white soles and it just looks out of place to me.
I just got a pair with black soles, Steve, just for you.
I'm proud of you, buddy.
I have a pair of white white suede shoes that have blue soles. So
nice.
I'm not against the colored sole. No, I have 2 pairs of shoes. One of them is from some designer that doesn't make men's shoes anymore, which I'm really, really sad about. Mm-hmm. I forgot her name. What was her name? And it's just like plain black shoes. Like they kind of look like dance shoes, essentially.
So they're not comfortable. They're more stylish.
They are the most comfortable. Like they were terrible my first couple weddings because you had to break them in because they're completely leather all the way around. Mm-hmm. But now they're the most comfortable things I own, and they're starting to get holes on the bottom, so I need to go resole them. Because the upper is still great. And then the other pair I have like a pair of, so UGG came out with a Italian collection of beautiful, beautiful, beautiful boots. So I have,
it's not like the boots that the girls wore back in the 2000s.
You don't have to lie to us, David.
Skirt. Well, I have those, but I only wear those on Wednesdays with with a jean skirt.
With a jean skirt. Jean skirt.
That was the thing.
Crop
jean
top.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
That's a David picture I need for the Instagram account right there.
There is a picture on...
There's some clickbait for you.
There's a picture on Facebook.
Don't send me down the dark webs.
There's a picture on Facebook of me wearing a cheerleader's uniform.
But are you wearing Uggs? That is the $1 million question.
Am I wearing Uggs? No.
Doesn't count then.
I am wearing Uggs. I am wearing the Ugg brand a lot of the time because they make some of the best shoes in the market, or they used to make some of the best shoes in the market.
So what you're saying is you're sponsored by UGG. So you and Tom Brady are like BFFs.
I wish.
I think what he's saying is he's looking for a new shoe brand. I mean, the one brand doesn't exist anymore, and you just said that Uggs used to make some of the best shoes in the market. So
yeah,
come on over to Cole Haan.
Deckers, the parent company, is based in Santa Barbara, and so I know a lot of the designers here, and like sample sales are a real thing, and luckily your boy is sample size. So
your boy's average foot,
boy's average foot size, which means what is sock size.
What is that, like an 8?
9.
Nice.
9. So if you are a size 9 in men's or a size 7 in female, you have hit the lottery because you can wear samples. And it means that the shoe is not as good quality, but it also means that you get it at like 20% of retail. So
nice.
So what I tell my brides that, I'm a sample photographer, you're not going to get quite as good of quality, but I fit, the average bride.
The average bride.
That's what I'm after. That's my target demo.
The average bride in Kansas. Where are you again?
Yeah, close enough. That's all kind of just the middle of the country here.
Are you one of those M states? What are you?
No, we're both in Indiana.
All right. So the reason I wanted to ask about your suit affair is because I recently gave up wearing suits to weddings.
Okay.
I don't know if that was mainly.
For shame, Dustin. For
I
shame.
know. I think it was just because I felt that the jacket was constraining me from being fast and moving quickly. And however, I did find last year one of my friends told me that they are starting to make the jackets have some of that flex material in it, like they do with the pants now.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about looking back into it. So when Steve brought up your obsession with suit wearing, I wanted to pick your brain a little bit about it. So is your jacket kind of that stretchy, more like athletic type suit?
No, right. The one that I have right now is built for like the traveler. That's why it's called like the traveler suit, because it's machine washable, which is super nice.
That is super nice.
Yeah, so I can just kind of pack it in, and it's like it's kind of more of like a casual style suit. But it still looks really nice and gets a lot of compliments, which is awesome. But it's all cotton, which is nice and it's breathable. I do find that like sometimes like it gets a little bit warm, but and I'm not wearing the jacket 24/7. I'll like set it down and pick it up when I need. But as soon as it gets cold, because in California it gets cold, like as soon as the sun goes down, it gets cold real fast. It's just nice to have that along as well. Usually, like if it's outside and it's super hot and I'm sweating up a storm, like I'll take that jacket off real fast.
Fast.
Oh yeah, it's coming off.
Then you zip the pants right at the knees, and those come off, and it's just like a whole different outfit.
Oh, it's amazing. It's incredible. They're kind of like that ripstop material, and
that's right, man.
Swap those shoes out and your socks, your dress socks, and put on some white socks and some Birkenstocks. Really round it all out.
Hey, I wear no show socks, and sometimes they happen to be white
with Birkenstocks. No, probably Uggs. Probably with Uggs.
I do have Ugg slippers.
See, Steve, he rocks this sexy vest to weddings with a jacket. And I've been looking to invest in one of those.
I like to wear a vest to the wedding so that if I take the jacket off while I'm shooting, because it is getting a little bit too constricting, then people can confuse me with the DJ real easy.
Right? That's a good move.
Our wedding last weekend, the bride's parents requested that all vendors wear all black, like complete black, and I had people confuse me for waitstaff at the reception, and that was sort of a low point in my career.
Oh my gosh! Well, that's kind of like they have like different terms for that in Hollywood, where it's like there's like dress blacks, and then I forget what the other ones are, but yeah, in general, like that, I feel like that used to be the thing. That used to be like don't be noticed, don't be noticed, don't be noticed. But now I'm like, I like if I feel like and I always like in my clients, I always kind of figure out what the style and what their vibe is, and then I can figure out what shirt I'm gonna wear like underneath the suit. So if it's a more tropical, more fun, like younger, like hip type of wedding, then I'll wear like more of like a floral print shirt and like allow some creativity and some of my own personality. But if it's a super nice wedding, then I'm gonna dress up to the nines and make sure that I'm pulling everything out that's right on point.
How did you dress recently when you were shooting at the Instaprom? The Instaprom thing?
Oh, yeah, Instaprom. Hold on. I need to go get my charger. I should have gotten that.
Okay.
Can we pause for a second?
No, it's fine. Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine.
Cool.
What are you drinking over there, Stevie Pooh?
I got a Bad Elmer's Porter from Upland Brewing Company. It's a great Indiana beer for a great Indiana man like me, Steve Van Elk. What are you drinking? I saw you had a beer. I'm
drinking a Pacific Apricot Wheat in honor of our dear guest, David Mendoza, because it has the name Pacific in the name of the beer.
And he lives in the Pacific time zone.
Exactly. Or someone left this in my fridge. One or the other. I'll let the listeners decide. Yeah, just a warning. He did kind of cut out at a few places,
Looks like we just lost him.
and now he's completely gone altogether.
Hi, I'm back.
Whoa!
Nice.
That was amazing.
Just like he just appeared.
I know, right?
Did your computer run out of battery while you were gone?
Yep, it did. And then it was at like, I saw it and it was at 0. And I was like, oh no. Yeah, where were we, guys? Sorry about that little.
Talking
I was
about
like,
your
I gotta go
sexy
get-
style and how that relates to Instaprom.
Oh, Instaprom. Yeah. What did I wear for that? I only did the getting ready stuff
Mhm.
for them. And what did I decide to wear? I don't even remember. I think I just wore like something casual but hip to. What did I? I'm really trying to think what I wore that day. No, I did wear up. Dress up. I wore a suit. I did wear a suit.
So
Nice.
I actually don't really care what you wore. I'd rather know what the hell is Instaprom.
Okay, so no, that's a great question. So I have fallen into this world of photographing these like up and coming stars. And a lot of them are homeschooled. That's
Mhm.
just Hollywood works. There's like an entire system of school for these kids, and they won't be able to experience something like prom unless somebody puts it on, right? Like kids wouldn't put on prom, like parents put on prom, and then they hire they like pretty much tell the kids like, hey, here's a bunch of money, go do it. Instagram decided to throw a prom for all of these kids, and they got invited, and they all invited each other, and they threw this big old bash. And I'm really good friends with a few of these kids and their parents, and they asked me to come down and do like some official like getting ready photos and do some photos for like some of the dressmakers as well as like their promotional materials. So yeah, it was really fun. It was honestly, I had no idea what it was. All I knew is that Instagram was throwing a prom for these like Insta famous kids. They all have anywhere between 70 to maybe even below that. Like pretty much they're all within like 300 to 3 million followers, 300,000 to 3 million followers. And
So goals.
pretty much.
Steve,
Pretty
you're
much.
close. Close, Steve. You're getting there, bud.
Doza's much closer.
Oh my gosh, not even. These kids are crazy. Like they're amazing kids. They work super super hard, and it was just fun to be there and see them all dressed up. And like, I mean, one, they already look like adults. Like if you go look at my feed, like half of those girls are 12 and 13. And yeah, the look on your face is real.
The look was of complete and total disbelief on my face for people listening to the podcast who can't see that.
Yeah, like one of those girls, like one of the younger ones, she was 11 when I started taking photos, and it was like when I met her, I was like, she's probably like 15, 16, whatever, and I was like, oh, you were 11, but now like I'm good, really, really great friend. Like I make friends with the parents as much as I can, and just like keep it as professional as possible, just because things can get super, super like sketchy. And there, I mean, especially in the world that we live in, I just want to respect everybody as much as possible. And I anytime I'm with them, I'm like, and the parents are super trusting of me, but I always like keep as much respect there as possible. It's awesome. But
How do you set up boundaries in a relationship like that to protect yourself and to protect the kids as well?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it is always having like somebody else present. Like anytime I'm with somebody, like I'm with these kids, there's somebody else is always present, making sure that like the parents know exactly where we're going, what we're doing. Yeah, and honestly, it's like the like inviting the parents along like to everything, just because, and like the parents like have their own schedules and they're doing other stuff, and they like after the first time they start to trust me, but at the end of the day I'm like I would rather be above reproach than ever have to like question anything. So
do you feel more comfortable with the parents there or without?
Either way it's fine. I mean, I'm super comfortable with having a whole team of people behind me watching me what I'm doing. But I think when I'm in the zone, it doesn't really matter who's around because I'm in the zone.
Auto zone?
Get in the zone?
Yeah.
O'Reilly's.
So you do have O'Reilly's out there?
Yes, we do have O'Reilly's. We have an O'Reilly's right across the street from an AutoZone.
Nice.
And that's how she wrote it. It was amazing. Instaprom was amazing. That's what I meant. And then I didn't go to Instaprom. I had no desire to go.
You didn't get invited in as a chaperone? Look after the kids, maybe spike the punch, whatever you got to do.
It would have been fun to see Charlie Puth. Charlie Puth performed there.
Oh, cool.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, they do it big. They do like everything is huge, huge, huge. And the theme of this one was kindness, because there's so much nastiness going on in the world of social media with kids. I mean, adults as well, but like with kids.
Do you ever have any of that spillover into your like Instagram and stuff, since you're like posting pictures of these kids and everything? Or
no, not directly on mine. I see it I see it directly on the kids' pages, and I'll go to bat for them. But otherwise, nah. And if I do get hate, I just brush it off. At this point, I'm like, so what? You don't like the picture, like, and you think that those clouds are fake? That's fine. They probably are. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's like, it's a reflection of the own person's like insecurities rather than like anything else. And I'm happy to answer any questions that people have. But if you're gonna get nasty, then I'll just block you and go on my merry way.
Clouds, fake. Wonder why anyone would ever question anyone about something like that. So trivial.
Hey, sky replacements are a real thing, and I love them.
Absolutely.
You can't always get those pillowy clouds. Maybe you take 50 photos of them in Hawaii and you use them throughout the year. I've done that.
There's actually a program that I just discovered today called Seamless. Have you heard of that?
No, it sounds amazing.
It's in beta right now, but essentially it's someone creating a Photoshop plugin to just make the like dubbing skies, like replacing the skies, like much more fast and seamless. Thus the name Seamless.
Seamless. Well played.
But he's currently designing it for real estate photographers. But I, as a wedding and portrait photographer, thought that it could have some fun applications in that realm too.
Dustin, you also do real estate. Come on. Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, which is how I discovered it, because I'm in like a real estate photography Facebook page group, whatever they're called.
I like that. I've dabbled. I've dabbled in the real estate game, but I only do the twilight shots.
Yeah.
Because usually, like, if one of my buddies here is one of like the luxury real estate guys, and which, I mean, who isn't? But but so like the guy that does the interiors, he's a master and will make everything look super, super good. And then sometimes it's like his twilights aren't that great, or aren't like anything to write home about. And so he knows that I'm a master of blue hour. So he's pretty much
talking
like
about real estate and twilights. Can you just explain that? Because most of our listeners are wedding photographers, and that's not a term I hear super often in wedding photography.
Oh, funny. Yeah, twilight is when the sun goes down. About 20 minutes after when the sun goes down. That is twilight.
The blue hour, right?
Blue hour, yeah. Blue hour, I mean, really, it's like blue minutes. There's like, I mean, and anybody who's been doing photography, like seriously for more than a couple of years or more than, I don't know, a year, well, you know that it's not golden hour, it's golden 15 minutes, and it's golden, and then it's like you have blue hour, but then you have like perfect blue hour where everything is like right on, and that window is very, very short. It's probably like 5 minutes, honestly. But twilight is when you can pretty much, if you look out and you can start to see the streetlights turn on, then that's what it is.
And why is this important for real estate photography?
Oh, just so that you can get all the lights on and everything.
Okay.
So pretty much like you go through the house, turn on every single light, and then that way it makes the house look prettier. Pretty much it's like makeup for a house.
See, Dustin does a lot of real estate photography, but I don't. So I'm just lost when this sort of conversation starts happening.
Oh, quick fact. I got featured on New York Times because of a Twilight shot.
Oh, awesome.
From the movie?
What?
The Twilight movies? Yeah.
Of a house here. It was random, but so now I can put New York Times on my website.
You should just throw up like a secondary page on your website that says like David Mendoza, luxury real estate photographer.
Luxury real estate wedding photographer. Luxury real estate and wedding photographer. Also will take portraits of your children.
Maybe word that slightly different, but I like where you're going with it.
Well, it's always funny. Like sometimes I don't know whether to say photograph or shoot, or because hey, I shot this kid, and you're like
capture.
Too soon.
Enslave? No. But yeah.
Oh, Dustin.
Two white guys and a brown guy once one podcast about capturing.
So we want to get on to some Q&A questions, but first to kind of loosen things up, do you have time to play like a quick little trivia game?
100%. Let's do it.
All right. So this week, the trivia is all about tacos.
Yeah.
Finally, I feel like this one I might have a chance on.
All right.
Trivia.
It's time for Taco Trivia.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
I'm going to start with Dustin. The first 8 questions are going to be all true, false. And Doza, we did not ask you this. How do you feel about the use of curse words?
What do you, in general?
In general.
In general, it's fine.
Do you use them?
Do I use them?
Yes.
In public, no, but with my friends, yes.
Just going to change this thing right at the end. Okay. Oh, now there's going to be a bonus round after the first 8 questions, and it's called bull crap or both.
Oh, no, you can call it bullshit. No, that's
nice.
Fine. No, yeah, that's fine. For this, it's fine. I was just like, what are you talking about? Like,
I never know. Like,
we want you to say a bunch of explosion.
No. In my own channels, my own channels, I try to keep it like as family friendly as possible because I know that I have like thousands of tweens that are looking at my stuff. So like looking at my videos. So that's why I'm like very conscious of it.
Thousands of homeschooled tweens at that.
Yeah. Don't even get me started. But but yeah, so I want it to be like family friendly essentially. But as far as like in my personal life and on stuff like this is great.
Do these tweens have Twitter?
Oh yeah.
So they're twittering tweens.
Damn it, you took my line, Steve. Took my line.
Twittering tweens. Oh gosh. Yeah, tweeting tweens.
Tweeting tweens.
Nice.
Twitter is
hashtag.
Twitter is doing a great job.
Sometimes there's a lot of really, really awful, hateful things on there. They're cleaning it up a little.
I mean,
all right, let's taco it up.
Taco it up. All right, I'm going to start with Dustin. And then I'll come over to you. Dustin, the taco was invented sometime before the birth of Christ.
Wow, we're going heavy and deep with this.
We're going so deep on this taco stuff.
Was the taco invented before the birth of Christ? I'm going to say true.
Dustin, that is correct. The taco was supposedly invented sometime between 1000 BC and 500 BC. All right, David, this one's going to be real tough. The flour or corn substance around a taco is called a tortilla. True or false?
Hold on, say that again.
The flour or corn substance around the meat of the taco is called a tortilla.
True. I was thinking about it so much that I was like, wait, like the very, very edge? Like, is this like the crust, the mantle, the inner mantle, the core? Like what are we talking about?
If the earth was a taco, what part would that be? It'd be the crust.
So just to be clear, he got tortilla as a question, and I got the history of when the taco originated. I'm just playing out the order in which these questions.
Taco Bell facts for you.
Dustin, the word taco was first used to describe the food that we now know of as tacos in 1492.
We go again with the history questions. False.
That is correct. 1492 is when Columbus sailed the ocean blue. It's actually, they didn't ever use the term until the 19th century. All right, David. When they first became popular in Mexico, tacos were mostly served in the silver mines.
False.
Oh, I'm sorry, David. That's actually true. So that puts us at Dustin with 2 points and David with 1.
That puts us at Dustin winning.
There's a score? Oh, dang.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Dustin, the tacos in Mexico that were served in the silver mines were basically just thin sheets of paper wrapped in gunpowder.
Thin pieces of what? Say that again.
Thin sheets of paper wrapped in gunpowder.
True.
That is true. Man, I'm really disappointed that you got that one.
Wait, what?
I did so much research on this.
Steve now can write a book on tacos.
I could not believe this. It just seemed like the most ridiculous thing to me. David, every year in America, Americans consume over 7 billion tacos. True or false?
True.
Oh, man, that's actually false. They only consume 4.5 billion.
See, that's what I thought. That's what I thought you were getting at the last true or false. I thought it was going to be like, oh, that's false. It was actually a copper mine.
That's what I figured.
I try to mix it up a little bit to keep everybody, going hard. But Dustin, half the U.S. population visits a Taco Bell every 15 days.
False.
Dustin, that's actually true.
I thought it was higher.
Also very sad. Very, very, very sad.
David, the biggest taco ever made was 666 feet long, and it was spicy as hell.
That's a lot of sixes.
But it was also spicy as hell. True. Just for the pun's sake, I'm going to say true.
Oh, no, I made that one up.
Dang it.
The biggest taco ever was only 246 feet long. But it's okay, because now we're headed to the bullshit or both bonus round. Okay. In this round, I'm just going to say something, and you just have to yell out bullshit or both, and whoever says it first gets 2 points.
First, give us a score recap, Steven.
Doza's got 1. You've got 3.
All right.
Trace.
People call me Trace, too.
Bring it, Doza.
All right, so the first taco truck and the first pizzeria in the United States were both located in New York City.
True.
Damn it. Dustin got that one right.
Damn it.
That takes me to, what, 6?
Yeah, but where were the best tacos made? California.
Wahoo's?
Yeah.
Wahoo's.
Tacos and hoagies are both considered to be sandwiches.
True.
Does David want to change his answer real quick before Dustin?
Bullshit.
Yeah, woo! In the state of New York, they consider burritos to be sandwiches, but tacos not so much.
Don't worry, David. Steven will edit this in a way where it'll sound like you win.
It doesn't matter. I can live.
A special final round question. It's worth 3 points. Where are the best tacos made, David?
Santa Barbara, California. Duh.
Oh, David just won. That puts him at 6 points, and Dustin's only at 5. Sorry, buddy.
I believe the question was directed to David directly.
He would have lost 3 points if he got it wrong. Duh.
Actually, there's this spot in Fresno, which I lovingly call Fres Yes. It's on the way to Yosemite, and it probably makes the best tacos I've ever had. I forget the name of it, but
Have you ever been to Underdogs
no.
up in San Francisco?
Underdogs sounds amazing.
It's so good.
That sounds like a very San Francisco name. I'll have those.
It's kind of like branched off, and now they like serve it at like, some dive bars.
Ooh, nice.
But yeah, it's like just like super fresh pico and guac and just steak, and that's it, and it's delicious.
See, a taco bar is only as good as the salsa.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can have like really good meat, but if your salsa sucks, then your taco truck sucks.
And if you get the chips and salsa, how they bring it is just like a basket of chips, and then they just cover it in pico, and that's what they call their salsa. Which salsa here, what I'm used to, is something more of like a ketchup-y type thing, like the Tostitos crap you get at the store.
Salsa in Indiana is so terrible.
Yeah, there's like so. Have you been to Mexico and like seen how the taco guys do it?
I've been to Puerto Vallarta. Does that count? It's very touristy.
Yeah,
and I eat tacos every single day, and I only got sick once.
Hey, it's cool. I'm down with that. At the beginning or at the end of the trip? That's a real question.
Middle.
Well, at least you got the first half.
Steve, do you get sick on every trip you go on?
Only out of the country.
Only when the water's not pure.
Whoa. So, are you guys ready to do some weird questions?
Q&A.
Oh yeah, Q&A.
All right.
Let's do some Q&A.
But Steve.
So Kyle from the Facebook groups writes in, and he says, I was shooting a wedding recently, and I noticed the videographer had covered the logo on his DSLRs with black gaffer's tape. I was thinking about doing this, but didn't want to use black tape because it's a little too drab. I was thinking more like neon pink, neon orange, or neon purple to add a little pizzazz to my gear. Which color should I go with?
Sparkles. Always sparkles.
Glitter.
Holographic sparkles.
It was actually the use of putting tape over the camera manufacturer was a practice that they taught us back in college for the photo.
Was this at RIT? The famed RIT?
It very well could have been. But the photojournalism students, they said that that was one less distraction for people, so that they didn't think oh, is that a pro camera, or could that be a point and shoot? Or
I mean, I like to go with sparkles, like David said. I think that, it brings a very great vibe. And, just to get back to the Twilight stuff we were talking about earlier, kind of reminds them of a vampire in those movies when they see the sunlight.
Also, that photographer probably just the one that he saw probably was just a big fan of Casey Neistat. Because that's a real thing. Love him.
I'm a big fan of Casey Neistat. So
am I. I
you guys
watch
are ridiculous.
I watch him religiously. 368. Big fan. But yeah, no, I at the famed school of Brooks Institute, rest in peace. That's where I heard of people covering the brand name of their camera, so it looks less desirable.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Colin from the Facebook groups writes in, and he says, I've been having a lot of trouble at weddings recently with my shoes coming untied. I'm not a big fan of slip-on shoes or loafers. Would I be good with Velcro shoes?
Yep.
Probably. But, I mean...
I just want to see Colin in Velcro shoes.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I hope that they would also have light-up lights on the bottom every time he took a step.
Oh, that sounds amazing. How about this? Colin was his name?
Mm-hmm.
Colin, go get some mug straps. How about that? That's the way to go. If you you don't like laces, or I don't know, if you don't have your mom to tie your shoes for you. Sorry, that's mean. But no, monk straps. That's what I would say. Don't go Velcro.
What are these monk straps?
Monk strap shoes? They're the ones that like it looks like they don't have laces, but they kind of have like a little buckle on the side. They look very,
cool.
very, very modern.
Very nice. All right. So just one more question, guys. Trevor from the Facebook groups writes in, I'm a runner and a wedding photographer. Recently, I did a mini the morning before shooting a wedding. It was humid out, and I forgot to put Band-Aids on while running the mini. And my nipples were rubbed raw and started bleeding. It hurt pretty bad and made for an uncomfortable day the rest of the day. But what made things worse was the Band-Aids that I put on after the race came off during the wedding, and my nipples started bleeding again. And I bled through my shirt. I put my jacket on and buttoned it up so most people didn't notice. But someone did notice, and now all of my friends in the industry keep referring to me as the nipple bleeder.
Oh, God.
How can I change the conversation and get my peers to stop giving me such a hard time?
Pretty simple. You just got to do something more ridiculous at a wedding.
Oh, man.
Like wear Velcro shoes.
He could put some sparkles on his camera, too. Don't worry about it.
Trevor, you need to stop telling that story. That was the problem. The problem is you told that story. Oh gosh. I mean, just own it. I think at the end of the day, when you own it, then nobody can make fun of you.
I think that's a great story. You bleed through your shirt because you ran a marathon earlier. Like that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
What's a mini?
A mini marathon is half marathon.
A half marathon.
So it's 13 instead of 26.
I've run 2 of those. I didn't know that they call them mini marathons. I thought it was even short. I thought it was like somewhere in between a half and a full.
Maybe I'm wrong.
What a badass. 13 miles and then shooting. I couldn't do it.
Especially with bloody nipples.
After you ran your half marathons, what did you do? Did you just take the rest of the day off?
I collapsed and just, well, the first time I did it, I did the hardest half marathon in America, possibly the world.
As one should with their first marathon.
Yeah, I used to be a big runner in high school, and it's called Peer to Peak.
Was this before or after the motorcycle accident then?
I rode my motorcycle. So this was before. I rode my motorcycle to the start. Because it required less stuff, and I don't know. I just needed one key, and so I just put that in my pocket.
Nice.
But you start at Santa Barbara Pier, and you go to the tallest mountain, the Cumbre Peak in Santa Barbara. It's a 4,000 elevation gain.
Oh, why would you do that?
Pretty much the real reason was so that every time I look at that mountain, I could call it my bitch. That's the entire reason. I was I own you now. If I run up you, I own you.
If I run up you, does this apply to other things in your life, David?
Yeah, I tell this to all my Tinder dates.
Okay.
If you see me slip on my running shoes in the back bedroom, get worried because I'll own you by the end of the night.
No, running is a tough thing, not an easy thing, but I commend anybody who so the nipple bleeder. That should honestly he should own that 100%. Or make it cool. That's what I try to
Just
do.
get a shirt that says the nipple bleeder on it.
Start a hashtag.
Right? I mean, if that story's being told, I would I mean, this is the marketer in me, just spin that into hey, I ran a half marathon before this wedding. I also shot the wedding and ruined a shirt for it. I'm willing to do what it takes.
I love it.
That's what I do. Turn all those negatives into a positive.
Or, spin it in a different direction and hook up with a men's clothing designer and design a dress shirt for men who have bloody nipples after they run.
No, That's amazing. They have those shirts. Yeah, have you seen those shirts that repel like ketchup and mustard and all that stuff?
Repel your nipple blood.
Just put
There
the
you go.
repellent on the inside.
100%. That's how you would do it.
Trevor, if you're listening to this, you should reach out to them. There's some collaborative, juices there that you could repel with their products.
When Robert De Niro says, "Hey, Greg, I have nipples. Can you milk me?" Trevor can be like, "Well, you can, you can milk me."
The first thing I thought of when Steve brought up this story.
That's an unfortunate situation because I've never had the nipple bleeding situation, but
it's very painful. I was a runner in high school, and it happened a few times to me, and it was just like fire all day long.
I can't even imagine. I know Jeff Newsom has had similar experience to that, but not I.
Just a little Vaseline. That's all you need.
Well, I know that now in high school.
Just some Vaso? Is that all you need, really?
Yeah.
A lot of runners put Band-Aids
like
on their nipples.
Yeah, I knew that.
Before they run.
I knew that much.
And sometimes they put some Vaseline on there too.
Huh. I did not know that.
Yeah.
One of my goals this year is to run a marathon. So,
I mean, you've
Have
already
you been training. Is it going to happen? Did you sign up for one?
well, as soon as I get down to the weight that I want to get to, which will be by the beginning of July, then I'll start training and I'll run something. Races are much better in the cold, so I'd rather run in the colder.
And the cold for you is like 70s?
60s. It actually gets into the 40s out here, but I know that's nothing like 0 and minus 1,000. But it gets cold out here. When East Coasters come out here, and they experience like the California cold, it's more of just like the drastic difference between like during the day rather than so you get that contrast, so you feel it. Whereas like out there, it's just unbearable all the time. But I've experienced it. I was in New York this winter and finally experienced the terror that is like wind cutting
wind.
That is wind cutting through your face on whatever street I was on in New York, Broadway.
Were you crying at all, or did you have your glasses on to protect those eyes?
I was just, was I crying? No.
That's like a real thing. Like the wind hits your face and it's so cold, you just start crying. Like,
I think that's just you,
I was
Steve.
just me. Just me. Okay.
I was sweating from my eyes. Okay, I was sweating.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No. Yeah. I did get that whole tear effect. I got like the booger effect thing where it freezes.
Nice.
I love that. That's my favorite to see people like that.
Yeah, and then like you don't realize it's happening, and then you finally like you go to take like a flower selfie on Snapchat.
Yeah, flower selfie.
They don't have a filter that just gets rid of those snot sickles.
Snot sickles.
They add them. On my app, they add them.
Bitches.
So we are a wedding photography podcast, and most people who listen to us listen for that reason. But you are trying to lose 35 pounds right now.
Yeah.
What are you doing to try to lose 35 pounds?
So
just diet?
I hired a company to help me out.
Mm-hmm.
It's mainly diet, and it's also some cheating. So it's a company called the Dennett Institute. They took some blood samples and they created some supplements for me. And they regulate my hormones. They they measured my thyroid. They did all this stuff, and then they created these supplements for me. One of them is also like a appetite suppressant. So one, I'm like eating less. Two, like my hormones are like in a better spot than they were. And three, it's not necessarily strict, but it's like you should follow these. No sweets, no bread after breakfast, and no alcohol. The no alcohol one is the main one. Mainly because with the appetite suppressant, the way that it functions in your body, adding alcohol into that mix would be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, I mean, I'm fitting into clothes that I didn't fit into, and I have a lot more energy. And the main thing about weight loss for me is I feel mentally sharp. I feel a lot sharper, and I've been able to spin up new parts of my business, and just added a photo booth, and just added like a couple other things. So it's been really helpful in that sense. And that's not something that I think it's part of the regimen of like being disciplined. Uh, in like you can choose your destiny, you can choose the things that you want to change in your life, and diet is something that's so simple that you can make those changes in your life, like with help, of course. um but if you want it bad enough, then you can do it. And I mean, there's obviously like other conditions out there that prohibit people from losing weight, and it's very
Like-
much like a
Like having a family.
yeah, of course. Of course. But yeah, I mean, I think like overall it's been something that I've wanted to do. I was like in that weird people were like 35 pounds, like you like where do you have 35 pounds to lose? And I was like, you have no idea. I used to be 120 pounds in college, and I'm like pushing 180 right now.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'8 3/4". No, I'm 5'8".
Okay.
Yeah. So not tall, not short. I was what I like to call skinny fat, where like you couldn't really tell, but like I could tell. And
Yeah.
it's like just hiding in like weird places. And now like, I think the really scary part is when you look at your shadow, or you look at yourself in a photo, and you're like, who was, oh, that's me. Like that sort of thing. Like that's when it got scary and like clicked in my head, like I need to do something about this. And one of my models started doing this whole thing that I'm doing. And for the listeners, this is not a plug. This is just what I'm doing.
Not one of the 11-year-old models, though, right?
No, she is 24.
Okay.
But yeah, so I photographed her like early last year, and then I photographed her at the end of last year, and I was like, oh, whoa, something drastically changed. Like she did a lot of work. And then I followed up and looked online and saw that she had hooked up with this company.
So you went like the Steve route, where like you just do a lot of digging on the internet to find out what somebody did, as opposed to just asking them.
Yeah, well, I was like, what did she do? And then I saw it, and then I reached out to her. I was like, what do you think about this company? Are they like legit? Is it working? Like, or is this just a bunch of baloney? And because I mean, I'm not convinced that it's necessarily the pills that are doing anything, but mainly like the regimen and like the mental practice of making the better choice. Which goes far beyond just photography, like beyond like just weight gain, weight loss, all of that. It goes into like, it spills into every part of your life, making the better choice. So I think that's been the huge gain that I didn't see coming.
So you said you also added photo booths, like because you feel like you have more energy. Are you running the photo booths at your weddings, or do you bring somebody else in to do that?
It's real fresh. It's a Giphy booth. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Giphy, it's basically an iPad on steroids, with like a ring light, faces the crowd. So no, I don't have anybody man it for the weddings that I'm at. If somebody else is going to rent it, then I have somebody else man it. There's enough. I live in a college town and know enough college kids that need a few bucks. So, but yeah, it's essentially like a really simple setup and tear down, and it's really easy. And I put it at like a low enough cost that it's not trying to be what it's not. Like it's not trying to be the print, like everything. It's hey, this is a really fun thing, and it's like instantly shareable, and that's its win. So it's fun. I call it Shimmy Booth. Luckily, everything was available. I was amazed. .com, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything, all were available. So I was like, I think that's I think that's the sign that I need to call it Shimmy Booth. So
Nice.
and it refers to the whole like GIF thing. So it just makes animated GIFs and sends them directly to your phone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Giphy, but
Yeah, I've seen it at a couple conferences.
yeah, it looks gimmicky and it kind of feels gimmicky, but for how much people love it, it's kind of worth it. So I figure if I can
It's
pay
kind
it
of
off,
expensive. It's an expensive investment
it is expensive
for what it is.
Exactly. It is very expensive for what it is, but I will tell you that I launched it last Tuesday. So it's very new for me. I launched it last Tuesday and I have 3 bookings.
Wow.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the power of it. And at the end of the day, you get the contact, the direct contact of these people. They're putting in real phone numbers. And you only get 3 messages to them, but you can say pretty much whatever you want. So essentially the way that I have it set up is I send them the GIF, or I have it send it to them immediately if there's Wi-Fi. Working on upgrading the iPad. That'll come probably around the 11th or 12th booking. But it'll send them the photo directly, and then the day after, then it sends the gallery to everybody who put their phone number in. Hey, here's the gallery. Thanks for shimmying with us. Bye. And then a week and a half or 2 weeks later, then I trigger another one that says, hey, the official photos from the event that you were at are on the blog at this link. This will be the last message from us. Cheers. That's it. So
Are these the photos from the Giphy thing, or when you say that, are these like your professional photos that you've already edited?
My professional photos.
So 1 week turnaround for that for the blog.
Yeah. So it's a preview. It's a preview of that for the blog. So it's directing traffic to the blog. So that's the value, because nobody's going to put in a fake email or a fake phone number. I mean, I have a fake phone number, but even then, like, I would still like essentially see that. I have a Google number that I put on as my public phone number, because we all screen calls. But but yeah, so most people I saw a couple people put in like somebody else's phone number, and I was like, that's really silly, but okay. Or like somebody put in their like mom's phone number, and I was like, okay, whatever. They're like, my mom will want to see this. I'm like, probably, but people loved it. Girls fall in love with it just because there's this thing called the Lumi, which is this iPhone case that has it's essentially a ring light, and Kardashians use it, so every basic girl out there loves it. It also makes your face look good. When I say basic, I mean basic in a way that's like not condescending, because
Like 10,000 or less Instagram followers.
Yes. No, I mean probably like 20,000 or less.
Let's get real.
Yeah,
snap. I'm basic.
Yeah, so am I. It's okay. I'm only at 13.
I thought Doza was higher.
No, it's not. It'll get there someday.
When he said he was coming on this podcast, there was a significant drop.
Right? Right after I posted about it. No, I mean, it's so funny. I haven't we all go through this. We all go through spurts of really caring and really not caring about our Instagrams. But right now I'm in a spot where I don't care as much about it because I'm in such a work mode. But I'll probably turn that around soon and start to post more, because it's I have so much content to post, but don't have time to post it right now. Pretty neurotic about the way that I want to post it.
So before we wrap things up, we do want to give you a chance to talk about any projects you have going on, any places where you're speaking upcoming. But before we do that, I did have one last question for you. I noticed earlier when you were talking, the pinky finger on your right hand is painted.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, is that for any reason?
No, this is so if you go through, I'll put it up on my Instagram as a story, but That is, it's starting to come undone now, but this is about $15 worth of Swarovski crystals that are on my pinky finger.
Oh, wow.
A friend of mine invited me to some event, and she was like, "Hey, do you want to get a free manicure?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" Before that, I had just gone, like my other friend and client, he had just bought a new car, and he was like, "Hey, you want to go for a ride?" And with this guy, like, you say yes to everything. So
I saw the picture you did of him with his car. That was awesome.
Yeah, so his name's Shannon, and he got the new Lexus. It's like their luxury sports car. It feels like a Tesla, but has the sound of a real car. It sounds like a real car. You know that scene in iRobot when he pulls out with the motorcycle, and they're like, "Is that combustible?" It's kind of feels like where we're going. But so I had just gotten back from that, and then she goes, "Hey, do you want to go get a manicure?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, might as well. I just went. Sure, I've never had one. It's free, whatever." So we go over to this event. It was right next door, and turns out that it was put on by this little boutique and partnered with Swarovski. And I was like, "Oh, wow, what did I get myself into?" And I look, and there's like, they have this little placard that has all the different designs that you can do for your nails. And I picked the manliest one. I was like, black crystals, give me those. That'll be fine. Little fun fact is that one of the bridesmaids from a wedding that I shot last year, she was the representative for Swarovski at this event. And so there was no way that I was going to back down with her present there. I was like, she's like, "Are you going to do it?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm going to do it." Meanwhile, I'm like, "Oh shoot. Well, I got to do this."
How do I get these off later?
Yeah. So yeah, it's like a week and a few days later. I've only got like one big hole in it, but you know, it's still pretty fancy. All my clients seem to like it. So, I mean, the guys are probably like, for the grooms, they're probably like, "Oh, he's probably gay," but
that's when you break out those
I
Velcro
didn't think
shoes.
that. I thought maybe you were participating in the Polish Man project, which is where they paint one fingernail, and it's to raise awareness about children who are or have been sexually abused.
Oh, that's yeah, totally. That's pretty good. No, that is a much
Nobler cause.
That's a much nobler cause than I am willing to esteem myself to. No. I love that, but I wish I would have known that. I would have probably plugged that too.
We can go back, and you can just pretend like that was the thing the whole time. I'll edit it all that way.
No. This is just for fun, and it's a strange feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very strange feeling, but hey, that was my first manicure. It's $15 Swarovski crystals.
There you go.
That.
To the pinky. I was like, what? I think it's gonna be a thing. I think rappers will probably start getting it, and then it'll be cool.
You can be like,
And you can just be like, "I started it though."
Yo, who did it first?
your new Insta handle can be like Diamond Pinky.
Ooh. Diamond Flex. No, I call it Pinky Flex because with all
I love it.
with all my brides, I always call them out when they're flexing their ring. So it's always like cheers, but they do it with their left hand, and then they like make sure that the ring is like perfectly in there, and I'm like, that's a ring flex. Like, don't try and hide it.
See, I'm still doing Indiana weddings. So my bride's rings aren't probably as big as yours.
Oh, they could be small.
Yeah.
They could be small. My some of my, well, it varies. My sister, well, nope. Cut that
Well,
part out.
before we get to your plugs, I'll just say that I bought my wife a very, very, very small diamond
man.
ring when we got married, and she still to this day brings up how small it is to me every once in a while. But it's okay because she loves me.
The ring. She brings out how small the ring is.
Oh,
okay.
the ring. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Dang. I was going there too. I was like, oh. Your wife is very active on Shooting.
On Shooting.
See, you say that. She's very active, but I manage all of her social media for her.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So it's really you asking the questions about associate shooters and all that stuff.
Oh, no, wait. That was her. Yeah.
That was her.
Oh, yeah. That would be her if it's in a Facebook group.
Oh, okay. Cool. Wait, if you, which one of you is the peanut butter guy?
The
Who likes
what?
peanut butter? Who likes peanut butter? I think that was you, Dustin.
I like peanut butter. Who
Yeah,
doesn't like peanut butter? David, come on.
You like it enough to put it on your website.
It's because my web designer told me I had to put something about myself on there.
And you decided to go with peanut butter?
I'm a simple man with simple needs.
Fair enough.
I love this.
I mean, you taco shop, peanut butter.
Taco shops are relatable. Everybody loves tacos.
Would you put? Oh, there is a taco shop here that does a peanut salsa.
There you go. I'd be all over that.
They call it chile de árbol.
See, but what you don't realize is my website's immediately trying to filter out people with nut allergies. Like, we don't even want to touch those weddings. They tend to be snobs.
That's amazing. I love that.
So, David, what do you have coming up?
Oh,
I saw you're speaking at ShowIt United.
Yep. So I've got a styled shoot coming up there. So it'll be about shooting at night. That's what I did last year. It turned out great. I got great response from it. So if you're going to ShowIt United, sign up for it as soon as you can because it will sell out. Last year it sold out. Like my shoot sold out in 15 minutes or something like that. I probably will do another shoot there as well. Kind of a more advanced nighttime shoot as well as an editing course.
Oh, cool.
Because I think editing is one of my strong suits. So what else do I have coming up? Going to Denver, going to New York, going to Iceland. I've got a few things coming up for that. Nothing speaking. Partnered up with CloudSpot and HoneyBook. So if you're using any of those, go use those because I use them and they're awesome.
What does CloudSpot do?
CloudSpot is a photo gallery. So
cool.
It's an alternative to Pixieset or PicTime or whatever you like to use. It's the alternative to one of those, but it's super nice because you can within the same event you can create different galleries that feel completely different covers, different everything. You don't need to re-upload the photos and then send those out to vendors and send those out to whomever.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's super nice. The guys there are doing a really good job and iterating on it. So I'm happy to be part of their team. HoneyBook is the monster that it is and crushing it. And I'm probably going to get a second account for Shimmy Booth just because it's that good. And yeah,
Shimmy Booth has taken off that much.
As soon as I start booking like pretty often, then yeah, I mean, why not? If I can book like 3 a month, then pays for itself.
Or just tell the fine folks over at HoneyBook to make an account where you can have multiple right. brands so that I don't have to use agree.com for my video company and HoneyBook for my photo company. I could just fold them into one. Just saying. Just saying.
You use Agree. That's awesome. It's still my designs are still in there.
Nice.
I know. I see them and I go, "Oh, David, what were you thinking?" That's what I.
Wait, who's David?
Dustin.
You.
I only know Doza, so.
Oh, cool.
We're just trying to mix the listeners up because he calls you Doza, I'm calling you David. So then, think of me as a father figure.
Calling them both.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing to kind of split up your personality and your business because they're completely different personalities, and I kind of have to go in between them. but they're both part of me. Like I have that like very young like hip hoppy side to me, and then I also have that. I know it sounds so hip hop to say hip hoppy.
Hip hop anonymous.
Hip hop anonymous.
Got a lot of hip hop cred.
But then I have like the Hey Doza brand, or the Dave Mendoza brand, which is much more luxury and high end, and feels like sorcery and magic. That's kind of the entire brand, is that. So
it's like high end Hogwarts,
dude.
Yeah, I've been to the website. I didn't see any wands, people casting spells, little expecto patronus. What is your patronus on that now?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's a hippopotamus. Hip hop anonymous.
My flams. My rhymes are like phosphorus.
Popping off the top of this esophagus.
I don't know the rest of it. What is my patronus? My patronus would be. Oh, sorry guys, I'm a little sick. What would it be? I think probably a raccoon.
I love it.
The scavenger.
Scavengers. They're feisty.
Creative.
They're creative.
Very smart.
Thank you. I like to consider myself intelligent sometimes.
You and the raccoons both.
Hey, I honestly I really like raccoons because I really like Jamiko from Pocahontas growing up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they're a little fun. They're a little shy. Creatures of the night. There was going when I went to college, there was two albino, very famous albino raccoons in our little slum of a village called Isla Vista. And one of them died. It was really sad.
No.
Yeah. But, raccoons, that's what I would say.
Nice. Where can people find you online?
You can find me online. On Instagram, you can find me at Hey Doza, which is my inspirational feed. You'll find a lot of blue and orange colors there. You can also find me at David Mendoza III, aka David Mendoza III. Those are my Instagram ones. And then you can also find me at davidmendoza3rd.com. Email me at hi@davidmendoza3rd.com. And anytime you plug in davidmendoza3rd.com, I will come up. So, or one of my websites that I designed a couple years ago. But yeah, just type in David Mendoza 3rd and I'll pop up. But the easiest is Instagram.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing so much of your life with us.
Of course. I went on forever.
Yeah, thanks, David. We appreciate it.
Of course. Happy to help out, and thank you guys for having me. I was very honored. I didn't see that invitation coming at all, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. Thanks, guys.
Well, I spend a lot of time on Instagram and I like your stuff. So I was like, we got to get him on the podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Your guys' stuff is epic too, honestly.
Oh, thank you so much.
Your boy is sample size.
Wedding Photo Hangover is edited by Steve Van Elk from Bespoke Tone. You can hit up Bespoke Tone for all of your photo, video, or audio editing needs.